2023 has been a really good year of running for me, one that I will never take for granted. There have been many lessons learned along the way that I'll be carrying forward into 2024, and I want to share them with you guys. So now that I've got my last goal race out of the way, which is the Oxford Half Marathon, I kind of realised that I've managed to PB in the 5k, 10k half and full marathon, plus some distances in between, like an 8-mile race and a 20-mile run. It all feels a little bit surreal, but I am so grateful. And there's been some big changes that I've made this year to my mindset and to my running and the way I just approach running in general that I want to kind of share with you, dive a little bit deeper and share with you 6 things that I think have really made a difference to me this year, hopefully can help you guys. So focusing on health over mileage is the first thing I want to highlight. I have kind of mentioned this in a couple of videos recently, but I want to dive into it a little bit deeper, and that basically involves cutting runs short or adapting things based on how I'm feeling, listening to the body a little bit more rather than just sticking directly to the plan and trying to execute the exact time that I'm meant to be running for or the exact workout if it's just really not going to be a practical option on that day. Whether it's because I've overslept or whether it's because I'm not feeling that great, whatever it might be, I have really made a point this year to focus on my warm-ups, my activations, and getting all of that done before I get out the door. So if I'm running late or if I don't feel particularly great, I have this year either missed a run, missed a workout and swapped it for an easy run, moved days around and just shifted things to make it work for me, to allow me to recover properly and to make sure that I'm ready for my run. Now, I have talked a lot about activations and warm-ups and all of that sort of stuff. I am going to make a real effort before the end of the year to post on my extra channel, which I'll make sure I leave a link to in the description below. Some small videos coming up over the next few weeks of sort of activation routines, my warm-up, very basic stuff, and some strength stuff. All of this I just want to document in some mini videos, which I'll be doing hopefully very soon. Wait for some good weather and I'll record those outside. So yeah, just focusing on that has made the world of difference just across the board in general. Just easing back a touch on all of my workouts and paces and stuff, again, has made a massive difference. So for example, I had a bit of an epiphany after my 10k training block, which was the middle block this year, that I just needed to kind of ease back a tiny bit. Great example, my coach Will likes to get me to do tempo sections of my workout before I then get into the meaty interval stuff, and that's just to get me warmed up ready for the proper interval stuff. Now, I approach those tempos thinking to myself, he wants that to be 1 hour race pace, but I don't take into consideration whether I'm sort of like underfueled or what the terrain is and all of that. And I was really kind of pushing 520 per mile as an example, and I was trying to do that, and most of my workouts are fine in that training block. They were really good, but there were a few where I was a little bit tired, and I noticed at the time that I pushed the tempo a bit too hard. So when it came to the half marathon training block, I was kind of like, why are you pushing those tempos too hard? Is it a bit of an ego flex? Are you trying to look good? What's the purpose of it? Is this more detrimental than good for you? So I decided in the half marathon training block just to dial it back to 5:30s, and it ended up being the best thing in the world because I managed to pretty much nail most of my workouts, feel good on the majority of them. There's only a couple that I didn't have great workouts on, but most of them were really good, and I was able to stack up those workouts week after week. Feeling good, that builds confidence, that builds strength. It doesn't deplete me as much and it doesn't make me feel quite as exhausted at the end. So just taking the edge off things, I then kind of took that into the reps. So although I finished hard on a lot of sessions, in some of the more controlled repetitions that I was doing or interval workouts, again, I wasn't kind of busting myself to try and hit as fast a pace as I could. I was just really trying to just keep a lid on it, make sure that I got through that workout, ready for the next run and ready just to go again. And number 3, short and sweet, a little mantra that I developed this year. And that was simply in the back of my head, I wanted to say to myself, I want to train next week. Like, that was it. That was all I was thinking about. So I'd approach every single run this year so far, and I still think about it now, thinking, I want to train next week. So why do I think that? Well, I'm thinking to myself, if I want to train next week, in this run right now, is it an easy run? Yes. How do I feel? Good? Bad? Then really keep it controlled. Is it a steady run today? Do you really need to push your steady run, or do you just need to keep it nice and relaxed and go sort of low end steady because you're feeling a bit tired? Okay. Is it a workout today? Do you really need to push? Are you feeling good? If you are, okay, crack on. If you're not, where can you dial things back? Where can you hold? Are you too bad that you should really swap things around? Do you need to message your coach and say, I don't feel that good today, I'm going to do an easy today, when can I shift things around? Having that mantra in the back of my mind has always now made me approach a run rather than just going, I've got to get out the door and run, I've got to get out the door and do what I'm told, to I've got to get out the door today and get my run done, but what type of run is it? How should I control it? I want to enjoy myself, and I don't want this to be a miserable affair. So I don't want this to affect the next run. Will this workout affect my long run? Will this set me back? Am I going to get injured potentially because I'm feeling really fatigued? All these questions then run through my mind. So it might look like I'm overanalyzing things, but actually what it's doing is it's making me play it a little bit safe, dare I say it, and making me ensure that I don't do anything stupid on that morning, ready so that I am ready to train that next week. And number 4, treating races as just another run. Happened with Oxford this weekend, I had a blast. It happened with Newport Marathon at the beginning of the year, I had a blast. There are 2 exceptions this year that I can think of where I didn't treat it as just another run and I really went out there with a purpose. I absolutely failed massively. That was the Rose-In race and that was Magor 10K. Those 2 partly had something to do with the weather. It was extremely hot that day, but actually my mindset going into those races, regardless of the weather, was I really want to push myself. I really want to go out there hard. I really want to race. I really want to, I really wazzed myself up to the point where I was like, right, you're going to absolutely nail this race. Every other race this year, I've kind of gone out with a much more controlled approach, especially Newport Marathon. That was very controlled. First 3 miles, started off like a moderate mile and then gently worked into it before working down to marathon pace. Really just locked into gear, got that PB that I've been wanting for years, was so happy and able to tick that off. That then built me a platform this year to take that mindset through and get some really good PBs, I'll be honest with you. The Bourton 10K PB back in February, that was just, again, I was deep in marathon training, expected nothing there. That was incredible. Running whatever I did, 33.00. And then Oxford Half. This week leading up to that, I just kept calming myself saying, do you know what, it's just another run. Had a little bit of a back niggle, so I was like, well, do you know what, you're going to go and test yourself. If your back goes, whatever, it's going to be what it's going to be. Go and enjoy yourself, go and have fun. You train so hard, you get up so early all the time to go and train and run. This is the fun part. This is where you get to have a good blast, a good test. If it doesn't work out, that's fine. Go again, head down and test yourself at a later date. So I kind of had that mentality this year of races are just another run. They're a good chance for you to express yourself, test fitness, but nothing more. You don't like, I used to basically put everything on the line for races and be really downbeat when it didn't go to plan. And again, as I said, bar those 2 exceptions this year, which made me snap out of that mindset straight away. When I finished, I was like, what are you doing? Why are you putting so much pressure on yourself? It's just completely unnecessary. I'm a hobby runner, I'm not an elite runner. So again, that's just made things so much more enjoyable this year. And number 5, having a coach has been invaluable for me to be running week in, week out. Some great examples of that coming straight back off a race. I might, if I was self-coaching, I'm not going to say I might, I have in the past. Off the back of a race, I have gone straight back into sort of, not necessarily full training, but I haven't eased off as much as my coach has made me ease off. And I really have put myself in some bad situations in the past where I have gone and gone and gone. I remember before my last big calf injury, I raced like 4 half marathons in 6 weeks, had a blast, had fun, got myself into some decent shape, went and ran a local race here in November, smashed a PB there, felt really good, riding that high, and bam, calf injury 2 weeks later. Because I just kept pushing. I didn't recover, I didn't let my body settle, I just kept pushing hard and hard and hard. This year, after every race, my coach has made me keep it calm after races. Even after races that I don't think I've needed to sort of scale training back on, he's made me scale it back. And then, you know, interestingly, I've really felt it in the legs that week. So I've been really grateful that he scaled it back for me. Because if it was me doing it for myself, I might have made that easy run an hour instead of 30 minutes, or that moderate run 70 minutes instead of 45 on that journey back from that race, whatever it might be. So that's been really invaluable. And just a quick plug, I guess, I offer coaching as well. I'll leave a link in the description below. I've got some great athletes at the moment training for various things, marathons, park runs, half marathons, 10Ks, a lot of them building into spring next year, which is super exciting. If you're interested in coaching, do check out the link in the description below. Head over onto the website, fill out the form. It'd be great to hear from you, and I'd love to help you guys into your spring 2024 goals. And finally, number 6, looking after myself outside of running. Strength and conditioning, mobility, as I've said at the start, sort of activations and warm-ups, cool-downs, stretching, all of that stuff. But in particular, strength and conditioning has been a bit of a game changer for me. So many people banged on about it. If I think back to last year when I was always injured, posture was really bad, and everything was just kind of of not going well for me. I just kind of think to myself, since I started really committing to strength and conditioning, it's just transformed my running, and I can't recommend it enough. And that can basically start from simple body weight stuff at home, working on those weaknesses, because if you strengthen up those weaknesses, then instantly you're going to feel a better runner. For me, when I'm sort of charging down on a race day and I'm able to draw my arms back rather than have them swinging across side to side, it makes me feel like that strength and conditioning was worth it. I'm thinking in my head, wow, you're running like half decent. I'm not athletically gifted. I certainly don't have the best running form in the world. But it's just about doing the best I can with what I have, and strength and conditioning has really done that. So as I said in the beginning, I'm definitely going to be trying to get some small, short 1, 2, 3 minute videos of some little routines that I do up on the Extra channel over the next few weeks. Do bear with me, but I will try and do it. I'll start with some mobility stuff and work into strength stuff and show you guys what works for me. My weaknesses in particular, my back, my glutes, they're just the key for me, and my hips. So a lot of the stuff that I'll probably post will be in and around that. So yeah, again, check out the Extra channel. Hopefully some stuff appearing on there over the coming weeks. So there we go. Those are my 6 things that have really been quite profound this year in terms of my running. You might say they're more holistic changes. I definitely agree. It's definitely me taking a step back and looking down and going, okay, so if you want to string these weeks together, back to back to back, get that consistency that you always talk about, then what do you need to do? And it is more a case of looking after your body and yourself, and making sure that you can be ready for the next week's training, and just doing your best to avoid injury. Injuries happen, and I will indeed get struck down with more injuries in the future. But if I can do my best to avoid them, then that's going to give me the best chance to be able to string those weeks back to back. And so, bar the fact that a lot of it's strength and conditioning and mobility and stuff like that, a lot of the changes I've made are very much mindset based. It is a more holistic approach. It is appreciation, and it's everything like that. So I think when I was younger and really pushing, there was a lot more pressure on myself. I was really pushing and pushing and pushing for a reason that I really just don't know. And so this year I've really just taken a step back, let my running do the talking. And thankfully it really finally is starting to. So I'm really excited for 2024, and definitely going to carry these changes forward into next year. I would love to hear your thoughts on this topic. I'm sure we've all been through periods of our running where we see profound changes, or we've done something that makes a massive difference, and I'd love to hear from you guys if you've been through that, and if you have, drop it in the comments below. What is that thing or those things that you've done to change your running that have made the world of difference to you? I'd love to hear it, and I'm sure everyone else would love to read it as well. That's it from me today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please do consider giving it a like, share it with your friends, and of course subscribe to the channel for weekly running content. I'll see you in the next one. Until then.